Saving America one entrepreneur at a time, it's the Biz Wrap Podcast with your host, Michael Manahan.
It's Biz Wrap Radio, the show that celebrates entrepreneurs and small business with your host, small businessman, educator, and author, Michael Manahan.
And welcome to another edition of Biz Wrap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan, and thank you so much for joining me today. As always, we've got a great show lined up for you. By the way, if you're new to Biz Wrap Radio, we are the show all about small business and entrepreneurs. Yeah, we're here helping the small business people of America do what they need to do, create jobs and make money. That's how the economy works. Yeah, I know. If you listen to the folks in Washington, they'll tell you they created all the jobs, but it's not true. The jobs were created by entrepreneurs, small business people, the people who really fuel the economic growth in this country. And as we've discussed many times on the show, it is most of the new jobs that are created by small businesses. They're not actually created by the big corporations. In fact, if you read the Wall Street Journal, which I do on a fairly regular basis, I mean, it's got to be every week there's an article. Hewlett-Packard lays off 10,000 people. Microsoft lays off 8,000 people. Some other companies laying off thousands of people. So we're out here supporting the small businesses of America. By the way, let's talk about this election for a minute. This is not a political show. I want to make that perfectly clear. We don't go in for a lot of politics on Biz Wrap Radio, but what is happening from a political perspective does affect businesses and particularly entrepreneurs. And I get so excited when I find out that entrepreneurs are out there taking advantage of the changes being created by government policy. And I'm working right now with one company that is in the marijuana business. Yes, they're making creams and lotions that are used, topical creams and lotions and oils that are used to treat various skin ailments with marijuana-based products. And they're looking at a market that is just exploding. So, if your person got in the White House, great. If your person didn't get in the White House, well, you can try again next time. But in the meantime, take a look around you and look at what changes are going to happen as a result of government policy and try and figure out how you can take advantage of those, how you can make money off of them, because there's going to be tremendous opportunities knocking at people's door. I was thinking of starting a fence construction company. I might get a contract with Trump to build that old fence down there against, along the border. But anyway, let's get to our show. I'm so excited to have a guest in studio today. I love it when guests come into the studio because it's so much more interesting for me to be able to look across my broadcast table here and look at the guest. But I've got a gentleman joining me. He is Steve Monaco, Strategic Advisor, RCW Financial. Steve, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mike, and Merry Christmas. Thanks very much for inviting me.
Oh, well, man, Merry Christmas to you. Hey, Steve, now you are an expert and help people to invest in rare coins. Have I said that correctly?
Yeah, I think that pretty much encapsulates it, yes.
So how does that work? How do you invest in rare coins? If I had, let's say I had some, a portfolio, I'm worth $1 million, and I think I'm going to take $50,000 and put these into something other than stocks and bonds. How would I even do that?
Well, firstly, I think it's important that your listeners know what rare coins are.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
What they're not.
Okay.
And you will not find true investment-grade U.S. rare coins on early morning cable shows or late-night TV infomercials. Those venues pretty much mass-market generic gold or silver coins. Also,
So you're talking about the I think what is it? Is it Franklin Mint or something? I see those infomercials, and you can buy the gold 1926 silver dollar. There was only 50,000 of them minted, and through some amazing opportunity, we've managed to get the whole works of them, and here we're selling them at $50 a piece.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They are more of a marketing model. They're fine marketing firms, but they're not involved in the U.S. rare coin space. They're more involved in moving bullion and coins and things of that nature, which ultimately have some level of correlation to the broader markets. And one of the reasons that people get involved in rare coins is because of the lack of correlation to stock and bond markets.
So what you mean by that is that if the stock market is going up, do rare coins go down, or do they go up as well, or how does that work?
Well, ideally, and the reason people get involved with rare coins, or one of the many reasons, is the fact that they are extremely solid. Their performance is rock solid, as opposed to the volatility associated with pretty much stocks and bonds, and those markets experience volatility at points in time. And an easy way to think of it is rare coins zig when the market zags.
Gotcha.
And they're again, one of their value points is the fact that they're so immune to the generic markets, and that's a consequence of the folks that invest in them.
Sure. Well, that really, when you think about it, it makes sense because right now we've got the stock market. It's just about hitting 20,000 on the Dow. I look at the earnings multiples of some of these corporations, and I'm thinking, what are people smoking? And it may crash. It may not. I hope it doesn't, because a lot of people have their 401ks and retirement invested in the market. But yeah, we saw back, in 2007 or 8, the market crashed. Back, I remember, was it 2001? We had a huge market crash, and one of the problems with the market too is that unlike rare coins, companies can continue to print stock all day long, but you can't make any more rare coins, can you?
That's exactly right. People cannot go back in time and restrike very, very valuable antiquities, and the fact that there's an extremely limited supply of rare coins also helps the non-correlation to, again, the public markets. The cohorts, meaning the other folks that are purchasing investment coins and U.S. rare coins, are extremely deep-pocketed investors that are not looking for opportunities to sell. Rather, when volatility hits the market, they look for opportunities to buy more of their treasured and prized possessions.
That makes all the sense. I want to talk more about your customer base, but let's do that a little later. I'm really still intrigued about this rare coin stuff. I love it when I encounter a field in which I know absolutely nothing. So how is the value of a rare coin even established? Is there like a trading market for it, or how does that work?
Well, the high level value determinants for rare coins are scarcity, exclusivity, robust demand, and the historical significance of the coin. They drive this elite, non-correlated asset class. Let me go back a bit and give you my perspective on how I came to get involved with rare coins.
Sure.
Most of my 20-year plus career on Wall Street was spent in the institutional capital markets at larger broker-dealers and investment banks. And my job essentially involved presenting large institutional investors with value opportunities across a fairly broad spectrum of assets and strategies and structured financial products. And over the course of my career, I found that the wisest investors found value and a place in their portfolio for non-correlated alternative assets.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I researched hard collectible assets, and in fact U.S. rare coins, I became aware of the strategic wisdom that most of the wiser investors had in allocating a portion of their portfolios to alternative investments.
Mm-hmm.
And that encapsulates a number of assets out there, most notably real estate, but additionally unique and valuable assets like U.S. rare coins.
Just amazing. So market perception, it sounds like you've done a real job of crafting a very niche business here in the rare coins. I want to talk more about that, but we're right up against a commercial break. It is Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio. Guest in the studio today, Stephen Monaco, Strategic Advisor, RCW Financial. We are talking about rare coins. And in addition to rare coins, Steve is going to give you some ideas about if you have your own business and you are trying to sell kind of a unique business, some strategies he's used to be able to do that. But we're going to be back with more Biz Rap Radio right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Michael Manahan, in the studio with Steve Monaco. Steve is a strategic advisor with RCW Financial and a rare coin expert. And we've been discussing investing in rare coins and how you might want to consider perhaps making rare coins part of your investment portfolio. Again, Steve, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, it's again my pleasure. One of the things that you had last asked me about was the speciality of the asset class, the uniqueness of a U.S. rare coin asset class. And one of the factors involved in how investors might look at the asset class is by aligning themselves with an expert in the industry. And as I further researched U.S. rare coins and coin companies, I found the firm I'm with, RCW, to be the market leader in high-end numismatic asset management. So essentially, RCW is a 40-year-old family business with old-fashioned values and that emphasize hard work, trust, integrity, and relationship. So when I transitioned from Wall Street, I connected and was looking for people that I could reach on a gut level. And both their CEO, Steve Contorsi, and their president, Michael Contorsi, are professionals that I was able to connect with on a gut level. And now I provide strategic advisory to RCW and the Contorsi family.
So okay, let's talk about actually investing in rare coins. Okay, if I'm 25 years old and I'm working at Costco and I've got about $4,000 in my 401k and I've got a car payment and I rent an apartment in Long Beach for $1,500 a month, am I a person who should be investing in rare coins?
Absolutely, unequivocally not.
So who is the person who should be considering rare coins?
Well, let me answer the question this way. Interestingly, U.S. rare coins are not a new strategic portfolio option for investors. In fact, wealthy families have used elite collectibles and irreplaceable artifacts to protect and preserve family wealth for many, many generations. So for folks that are looking for asset protection, transgenerational wealth preservation, those are folks that are more likely appropriate for U.S. rare coins. They're looking for more of the longer ball, the longer game. They're getting involved with assets to preserve wealth. And it works, especially in the context of a diversified portfolio strategy, whereby a lot of investors have far more volatile investments. These are meant and designed to kind of lock down value, preserve wealth, and really we deal with what I define as ultra-high net worth type of clients. And while the description of ultra-high net worth varies, I'll look at it as $30 to $50 million in investable assets. Those are the types of people that can benefit most strategically from this sort of asset class.
Well, those are large numbers, but in this day and age, with things like the internet and the way that corporations, it used to be years ago, if you wanted to build a corporation worth $30 million, it probably would have taken you from the time you were 20 till the time you were 80. Today, these young entrepreneurs, they're going out and doing that in 3 years. I had actually an attorney I knew that took on a court case on a contingency. There was a $100 million settlement. He got 40% of it, put $40 million in his pocket. So there are people out there who are high net worth individuals. And so definitely, again, I'm talking with Steve Monaco, RCW Financial, talking about rare coins as part of someone's investment portfolio. But let me ask you another question about rare coins. If I invest in rare coins, do I take possession of them and put them in my safety deposit box, or do you hold them in some sort of trust account? How does that work?
Good question. Because rare coins are hard, tangible assets, and they're unlike ETFs, they're unlike bonds, they're unlike stocks, the investor ultimately will have to take ownership, possession of the asset. Now, that can be done in one of two ways. The investor can either assume possession and take delivery of their prized assets, and they can be responsible for putting them in a vault, which that's exactly where they should be, and they can insure the asset. On the other hand, if they don't want to be encumbered with those sort of logistics, we're always happy to do that on behalf of our clients, and that would be the safekeeping and insurance as part of our service to our clients.
Oh, so that's cool. So I got my choice. I can take the coins, put them in my own vault if I've got one, or my own safety deposit box, or you can provide that service. Probably there's a little fee involved with that, but that's understandable. Let me talk about one more thing, because
actually, we do it as a customer client service. So there is, if a client opts for that through us, there is no charge.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, something that's free after you spend $1 million on coins, you get something free. Hey, let's. I want to touch on one other thing.
Sure.
Because it. I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything that is not completely within the confines of the laws of the United States of America. But something that bothers me, and I know bothers a lot of other people, is literally everything we're doing these days, Big Brother is watching. I mean, they're monitoring my credit card transactions. They're monitoring my purchases of, I think they monitor purchases of gold. They're monitoring the money that I put into my bank account. They're monitoring so much stuff. Is there any kind of formal reporting mechanism? If I buy, $500,000 worth of rare coins, do I have to report all of that to the government?
Well, that's a very, very good question. And interestingly enough, a lot of people in that high net worth asset class are concerned about privacy. And privacy is very, very hard to achieve in, as you say, in the internet world. But because of the fact that, unlike securities transactions, rare coins are a tangible asset and they're private, so they don't require the K-9s or 1099s or any other government reporting that you might expect with, let's say, a real estate transaction, whereby everybody can really find out everything about that transaction, how much you paid for it, et cetera, et cetera. With respect to rare coins, there's a tremendous aspect and element of privacy, and interestingly enough, towards that line of reasoning, they're also very, very portable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way. I don't know if you've ever attempted to move gold bullion or silver bars. They're exceptionally heavy and really not practical to move.
You can't throw them in your pocket.
You can't throw them in your pocket.
Yeah.
That said, rare coins, and we're talking about coins with values into the hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, you can see very easily that you can be transporting $50 million worth of gold coins in your briefcase or literally your pocket.
Wow, that is amazing. It is Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio, in studio with Steve Monaco, RCW Financial, talking about investing in rare coins and more. We're going to be right back after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It's your host, Mike Manahan, again, in studio with Stephen Monaco, Strategic Advisor, RC Financial. Stephen, again, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me, if somebody wants to get a hold of you to talk about rare coins, how do they do that?
Well, they can either reach me on the internet. They can go to rcwfinancial.com, and they can also call me at my office number of 949-679-1222.
Okay, great. So that's 949-679-1222 if you want to talk to Stephen Monaco about the possibility of investing in rare coins. Now, Stephen, I'm presuming that this type of investment is really something that you need to have a close advisor and somebody who knows what they're doing, because I can see this as I'll give you an example. I hate buying jewelry for the ladies, even though the ladies love jewelry. I go in and I buy, I don't know what it is, a necklace with a little diamond pendant. I have no idea if that thing is worth $50 or $5,000. And believe me, I've looked at the $5,000 ones, and I don't see much difference between the $50 ones and the $5,000 ones. So, as a naive jewel buyer, I could easily be ripped off. And I'm presuming a naive coin buyer could easily be ripped off. So they really need somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yes, very much so. In fact, probably the most important decision an investor can make before embarking on U.S. rare coins is choosing the right firm, the right rare coin advisory firm and asset manager. And we believe that basic requisites for a firm are its high-end U.S. rare coin knowledge, their experience, their access to current information, and their relationships with key market participants. The firm I'm with, RCW Financial, has well over 50 years of collective experience, and RCW is in the business of structuring and managing portfolios of historically significant and exceptionally valuable U.S. rare coins. I believe them to be at the forefront of U.S. rare coin asset management, and we work daily with ultra-high net worth investors and advisors seeking expertise, insight, strategy, and opportunity with this uniquely non-correlated and tax-efficient asset class.
So let's sum that up. You know what you're doing. You got your crap together, right?
We have our, euphemistically using crap, yes, we have our stuff together. Yes.
That is fabulous, yeah. So again, if you're out there, you're listening, you've got some interest in this rare coins, definitely give Steve a call and follow up with him. So let's say I decide to invest in rare coins.
Yes.
How do you make the decision? Do I buy 100-year-old nickels, or do I buy 50-year-old quarters, or do I buy... by the way, is it just U.S. coins, or do you like ancient Greek and Roman coins, or any of that sort of stuff?
Our firm is very, very specific to U.S. rare coins exclusively.
Gotcha.
We've specialized in that for the past 40 years, and that's that's the firm's platform and mission. With respect to what sort of coins would make the most sense for specific investors, that would be a function of and is driven by what the investor is looking to achieve, what their time frame is about. Our belief is that we're always in the market looking for value opportunities for investors, and part of the formula that we're involved with, once we put together a portfolio of rare coins for an investor, we make them aware of opportunities that come about due to market demand for coins that they may have now ownership of, and various upside opportunities associated with those coins. And again, based on the sort of strategy, investment strategy that they're looking at. Are they 10 years out? Are they 3 generations out? Those questions and factors will pretty much determine the coins that we choose for them. And once we put together a proxy portfolio for them, went through each and every individual coin, and factors that went into the valuations, why we believe they're valuable for future appreciation, and once the client signs off, we begin the process. So that early part is really the beginning of a long-term relationship that we plan to have on a going forward basis with all our clients.
Okay, so let's say I've got some money, and I say, Steve, I want to do $500,000 worth of rare coins, and you put together a portfolio of coins, and I don't know how many that would be, but let's say it's 100 coins. Do I just get those in a sack, or how are they packaged? Are they into something that preserves them so they don't deteriorate, or how does that work?
That's a good question, and in fact, that might be accomplished with one singular coin, and not necessarily 100. But one of the factors that have gone into the U.S. rare coin market is transparency and liquidity. And there are 2 firms out there that guarantee the grade and authenticity of those coins. So you're not really out there left hanging in the wind. And we work with Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corp, or NGC, with issues involving confirmation, affirmation, that really the investor is getting exactly what they're paying for. Mm-hmm. There's a high level of transparency that, in contrast that to the art market, where there are concerns about authenticity and forgery almost as a standard operating business for them. So it's a very much evolved, very, very specific, and very, very highly transparent category of asset class.
So that's interesting, and that's good to know, but didn't really answer my question. How are these things packaged in special ways? Or are they just like, I pull the change out of my pocket? Here's some coins.
Oh, okay. And apologies for not addressing that.
That's okay.
As part of the
I'm just curious. That's all.
You should know.
How does this thing work? Is a guy running around with like a $500,000 coin just loose in his pocket? Or?
As part of the service that both PCGS and NGC offer, think about the process of grading a coin. Once that coin grade is established and they're guaranteeing it and standing behind it, they then seal the coin in a very special, secure wrapping, so that coin can be handled without degrading the quality in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So all the coins that you would be purchasing or investing in would all be sealed by the respective grading firm.
Gotcha, because you don't want to be showing your coins to your best buddy who's in the middle of eating a pepperoni pizza and he gets a pepperoni pizza juice all over your $500,000 coin, do you?
Well, that's correct. And what people do to alleviate that is keep most of the value of their rare coin portfolios in safes, and they keep a coin or two to show to friends and neighbors when they come by. They're proud of their prized possessions, and they can feel very, very confident that as long as it stays in that secure wrapping, that there's no concern for degradation of for the coin.
Well, that's cool, really. Imagine having friends over for a glass of scotch and come on over and look at my coins. We're going to have to go to commercial break, but we have one segment left, and Stephen, something I really want to talk about is how your approach to the business and how you create business for yourself. So we're going to do that right after we come back. It is Mike Manahan, Biz Rap Radio, in studio with Stephen Monaco, RCW Financial. We'll be back right after these messages. And welcome back to Biz Rap Radio. It is your host, Michael Manahan. Thanks so much for sticking with me. But let's continue with my guest. It is Stephen Monaco, Strategic Advisor, RCW Financial. And we've been talking for the better part of the show about rare coins, the possibility of perhaps making rare coins part of your investment portfolio and kind of how that works. And we learned some great information that I never knew about rare coins. But again, Stephen, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Now, I want to switch gears a little bit because reality is I don't know how many people listening to this show are a potential target market for you in terms of your business. You need to be a relatively high net worth individual, maybe one of those old 1%ers or 2%ers, I don't know. But I'm sure there are a lot of people listening to the show who would like to understand better how you market what is a relatively unique product, investment in rare coins, to a relatively scarce market, which is high net worth individuals. And you've obviously had to build your business over the years. You're still in business. You're still doing it. So clearly you've made some money doing it, which means you've made enough money to pay the bills and what have you. So you've got some concepts and ideas. Can you share a little bit about how you make a business in something like this?
Sure. The assessment that you have is pretty accurate, and I can say that everything is challenging in this space, given the very exclusive nature of the client. And I have a number of basic tenets I pretty much adhere to when I'm looking to build relationships across the value chain, and this holds as well for ultra high net worth as it is for the average Joe. And it starts with a connection. And I have a core belief that people want to connect, and this is either business, personal, or social, on some meaningful level. And it's really about people. It's less about technology, and we're being challenged by technology these days, and more about being human. And if you believe that people are yearning to connect, and you can foster those connections in some way, relationships usually ensue. I've been a stickler about a value proposition, and make it short and concise. And I always operated from the what's in it for me client prospect perspective, to have a pretty finely tuned elevator pitch that I can use at a moment's notice. For example, one of ours is, we help wealthy families and ultra-high net worth individuals protect and preserve their wealth for future generations. I constantly tweak and update that pitch, find out where it's working, and where it's not, to try to make it more effective. I think networking obviously is a significant component of getting your name and brand out there. And I'm very much a believer in relevant social and business events, and those include fundraisers, art auctions, and upscale auto shows, for example, that attract either high net worth individuals or those professionals that service and influence high net worth individuals. And they can include financial advisors. We do a lot of work with financial advisors, CPAs, attorneys, and ultimately your networking goal is to find people that will respond favorably to your value proposition. And last, and something that I've adopted more aggressively over the past few years, is to develop marketing alliances and business initiatives with professional platforms that align but don't necessarily overlap or conflict with your own. For example, if you're affiliated with an investment platform that would benefit from an objective third-party performance assessment, simply choose an accounting firm that resonates credibility. And once they're clients of yours, you can begin to leverage that accounting firm for strategic relationship introductions that they can make on your behalf. Those are some of the ideas that I've used over the past few years.
So, yeah, what you're saying is you use strategic alliances with other people that may be serving the same customer base. That you do a lot of networking. You go to events, so you're not sitting in a phone room with your headset on in your auto dialer. Trying to get through to, I don't know, some guy up in Beverly Hills who's got a big wad of cash in his pocket.
Yeah. Firstly, I find it offensive for both myself and the client to get involved in a strategy, if I can use that word like that. And I have too much respect for the client, the prospect, in that it's ultimately all about relationship. And I think that there are more meaningful ways of fostering, engendering, developing relationships than in the boiler room scenario that you might suggest. I'm sure that works for some, but it doesn't work when you're dealing with the ultra-high net worth.
Right. I think relationships are extremely important anyway, and this may be a little off topic, but as you know, I'm a university professor. I teach accounting and finance at wonderful California State University, and I love doing it. I love being with the students. But I often wonder when I'm teaching my students if they are well, first of all, they're not being trained whatsoever in the importance of relationships and things like networking. And when we have events on campus, I find that there's a lot of students who really they don't know how to sit around and have a conversation with somebody. They really have a hard time talking to somebody about anything. Do you think our younger generation has lost some of the communication skills that perhaps we as older folks have, or is it just me because I'm an old white guy?
Well, it's interesting. As far as communicating, I just think people communicate in a different way now, especially college kids. I see the way my own kids communicate, and there's less emphasis on what we're doing now, looking at each other across a table, face to face, and growing that sort of relationship where they're more creatures of the internet technology, and they're using those technologies to basically develop relationships. But I'm of the belief that you can't have 2,000 close friends, mm-hmm. and there are people out there that and is the representation that people make on the internet, is it as accurate as one might expect? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. But again, most of the people that I'm dealing with feel much more comfortable with face-to-face meeting, perhaps over dinner. Again, I think the level of, make it meaningful.
Right,
and
right.
I don't know if kids today, and again, is technology a plus or a minus in that capacity? I think time will tell. But I think I'm kind of an old-fashioned, like to look at somebody across the table and make that mutual decision.
Right.
Are we going to do business together or not? And I think a lot comes out in the meeting.
Okay. Well, there you have it from Steve Monaco. He is a gentleman who is marketing every single day to very high net worth individuals. He's got a very unique product line, rare coins, and his idea for you is you've got to get out there and network. You got to meet people, go to events, and build relationships, and those relationships are so important to success. Steve, thanks so much for joining me in the studio today. Once again, how can somebody get a hold of you if they're interested in contacting you?
Well, again, they can reach me via my web address at www.rcafinancial.com or smonaco at rcwfinancial.com, or call me at 949-679-1222.
It is Mike Manahan, your host, Biz Rap Radio. Hey, here at Biz Rap Radio, we're fixing the United States of America through a fundamental concept that individuals pursuing their own economic interests in free markets will create more prosperity for more people than can ever be achieved through government regulations and a planned economy. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Biz Rap